I love him. I love him.
And I hate him. Dead homies. Nobody loves you, baby. You should only love yourself. On myself.
Welcome back to Male Choice. Today we're diving into a hot topic: when society's nightmare becomes reality as some women finally start to realise they're not as valuable as they thought. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more thought-provoking discussions. Let's get into it.
I just got back from one of the worst dates I have ever been on. I don't even know why this man wants to see me again, because I was not nice to him. I was pretty clear about the time that I was having. Okay, so I get to this place the guy chose. It's cute, it's fine. I see him, we hug. We had like a really good text conversation, on the app. So I was like, okay, we're definitely gonna like get along. We start talking. He like immediately starts going into this story about the drama going on in his work. He works in finance. He's going on and on and on and on. And he keeps saying like, the woman that works below me, the woman that works below me, and the people that work below me, and the woman that works, and I'm like, I know you're an associate, like, let's calm down. Like, I'm not an idiot, but whatever. He keeps going on and on and on and on this story. And I'm kind of like, okay, this is fucking stupid. And then I realize he's kind of like prompting me to ask what he does. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I can read an ego. I can see it. And this man's got quite an ego, and he's dying for me to ask what he does in finance. I don't ask. And then he starts explaining what he does. I have not asked. And he goes, yeah, I work in investment banking. Do you know what that is? He goes, do you want me to explain what that is? And I go, oh, no, I'm familiar. I know what investment banking is. Strike one, I'm like, oh my God, this man is so patronizing, and he so badly wants to mansplain his job to me. We're not doing that. I'm not going to ask him anything about finance, anything about his job. I'm going to just sit back. After this man has been talking for, I would say like at least 10 minutes, I just sat down. I literally just sat down. He's talking like 5 to 10 minutes. And then he goes, so, like, when did you move here? And I go, yeah, I just moved here in May. So I guess it's been like 5 months. And he goes, okay. Like, what the fuck? So I'm like literally sitting across from him, and I go, what does that mean? And he goes, I have a rule about dating people who just recently moved here. And I'm like, okay, we have not had our drinks yet. We've been there for 5 to 10 minutes max. This is the first thing I've said too. I'm like, okay. And he goes, yeah, I don't date people that just move here because, like, you haven't really, like, found your community and made your friends and, like, blah, blah, blah. And, like, you're also probably dating hella people and all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, in my head, like, what fucking idiot says this the second you sit down? Unless you don't want to be on this date, why the fuck would you say this? So I go, okay, that's interesting. I mean, that's how you feel. And I shut down. Like, I kind of just am like, okay. And he goes, what? And I'm like, no, I just think that's interesting. And he starts going on and on about how he feels this way because he moved to Hong Kong, and when he moved there, he wasn't focused on dating and blah, blah, blah. And he's going on this whole spiel. And I go, it sounds like you're projecting those feelings. And he's like, no, blah, blah. And I was like, well, no, like, it sounds like you're projecting how you experienced moving to a new place and dating and finding community onto other people. Like, I don't know, I just think that like you should give people a chance. That's kind of my mentality. And he's like, no, me too. I like totally believe in giving people a chance. And then he starts talking about Hong Kong. And I'm like, okay, cool, Hong Kong. Like at this point, I'm like, I want to fucking leave, but we just got there. And I'm like, how do I leave? I wish I had left. I wish I had, looking back. So, talking about Hong Kong, talking about how he's in Hong Kong, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, blah, blah. And he's like, I speak Chinese. And I'm like, oh, sorry if this is like a dumb question, but sorry, when you say you speak Chinese, do you speak Mandarin? And he goes, oh, I'm so glad you asked this. So it's like complicated. So, you know, in China, there's different dialects. So there's different, you know, and in the South, they actually speak Cantonese. Like Hong Kong is an island. Did you know that? Hong Kong. And I'm like, like, yeah, I'm familiar. And they go, okay. So like, Hong Kong's an island. They speak Cantonese in Hong Kong. And I go, so why didn't you learn Cantonese? And he's like, oh, okay. So like the way that it is like Mandarin is like the language that Mao, do you know who Mao is? And I'm like, yeah, I know who Mao is. He goes, okay, like if you were paying any attention to history, you'd know who Mao is. And I'm like, oh my fucking God, kill me with this guy. And he goes, so Mao basically wanted everyone to speak Mandarin. That was like, blah, blah, blah. I cut him off and I go, okay, so are you saying that Mandarin is the national language and there's local dialects? And he goes, yeah, that's it. I literally said to him, okay, that was a lot easier to explain than what you were going into. Like, I get it. I've been places where it's the same. At this point, I'm like, get me the fuck out of here. We go through the date and I'm like, fucking get me out. Near the end, he brings up, and I ended the date. He's like, yeah, I noticed that, like, you know, when I said that thing about, like, about my, like, rule with not dating people that just got here, like, you kind of, like, you know, I'm, like, a straight shooter, and it seemed like you kind of, like, didn't like that, blah, blah. And I go, oh, no, I just thought it was a little rude that within the first, and I told him this, literally told him this. No, I just thought it was a little rude that within the first 5 to 10 minutes of me sitting down, meeting you on this date, you basically told me that you don't date people that recently moved here. I have all this in my profile. You also told me that you admittedly hadn't viewed my profile when I, throughout the night, had been asking you things about your profile. And, like, that's fine that you didn't read my profile, but then for you to have this rule and to basically say, like, you don't even, and then expect me to continue on the date acting like I'm excited to be there is a little awkward to me. And he's like, oh, blah, blah, he's saying all this stuff. Oh my God. No, I'm just a straight shooter. And like, you get it, blah, blah. And I go, well, I'm a really honest person too. And honestly, I just thought that that was very disrespectful. And I like to take the approach with dating that, like, give people the benefit of the doubt. If you have gone far enough to, like, meet me to go on a date, obviously, like, you see something you're interested in. You didn't read my profile, so I don't really know what exactly you were interested in. Maybe it was just superficial, but, like, you know, I think that people are a lot more than just the looks, the whatever. I think the older that you get, the more experience, the more that you have, the baggage that you come with, that I think it's beautiful. I've dated people with kids. I've dated people that were divorced. Like, I don't X anyone out because of whatever they come with. So I just was a little surprised to see you do that. Backtracks. Anyways, and then also this guy kept telling all these crazy party stories and kept saying, like, oh, I can't tell you that, and I can't tell you that, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, are these fucking men in New York for real? Are you even trying to fucking date? Like, what the fuck? And he's like talking about he's going to Miami. He's like, oh, I'm going to Miami, and like, oh, I can't tell you that. I can't tell you what I'm gonna do in Miami. And I'm like, I'm literally sitting in my seat and I go, no, please don't. You sound like quite the fun time. And he's like, yeah. What's going on, guys? My friends have told me they're now taking over my dating profile and they're gonna pick people for me to go on dates with, because I don't even trust that I'm picking the right people at this point. This is
So this guy's trying to strike a balance between showing he's interested and not coming off too eager. Now, maybe playing hard to get isn't for everyone, but let's be real. With the way things are today, a lot of guys feel like they have to walk this tightrope. Can you blame him? So many women expect men to be interested but not too interested. Men are getting mixed signals left and right. Show too much interest, and he's desperate. Hold back a little, and now he's playing games. For a lot of guys, it's a no-win situation, so they lean into the hard-to-get strategy just to avoid looking like they're overly invested too soon. But here's the thing. If he's showing interest, even in a roundabout way, he's clearly into you. He's just trying to navigate the weird waters of modern dating, where everyone's guarded and trying not to get hurt. Playing it cool might not be the most straightforward approach, but sometimes it's his way of testing the waters. In the dating world today, being too direct can backfire. So, while it might not seem like the most genuine strategy, it's often what guys feel they've got to do to keep things balanced. They're just trying to adapt to a game where going all in too soon can leave them empty-handed.
The interesting thing about knowing from a young age that you don't want marriage or children is that it automatically decenters men from your life. The three things that men have historically had to offer women, money, marriage, children, are things that I don't want or need. I have my own money, I have my own job, I have my own house, I have my own car, I have my own friends, I have my own hobbies. I filled my life with beautiful things that bring me joy and happiness and contentment. I also don't have a giant imaginary biological clock counting down the seconds to my impending infertility. So I don't have to settle down, with the operative word being settle. You'd think that men would be happy with this, that I don't want or need anything from them, I just like them for them. But what I'm effectively doing is taking away their control over my ability to leave. Money, marriage, children. Some men just don't like that at all. Don't get me wrong, I've had some beautiful relationships with men where the thing that tied us together was the fact that we loved and liked each other. But some men really don't like knowing that you would be absolutely fine without them. And I am. I'm not just surviving without a man, I'm thriving without a man. I don't need a man to provide my happily ever after. I provide it for myself every single day.
Some women out here are bragging about handling basic adult responsibilities like they deserve a medal. Paying bills, keeping a job, keeping a place clean, that's not some major achievement. That's just life. But here we are, watching people act like doing the bare minimum deserves applause. The truth is, being responsible, independent, capable, these aren't special talents. They're baseline expectations for being a functional adult. But in today's world, some women treat it like they're doing something groundbreaking. They're out here shouting about being strong and independent, confusing it with simply handling basic life tasks. If you're walking around bragging about managing your life, it sounds like you're used to doing less. And let's be honest, men aren't impressed by someone who's taking pride in things that should be second nature by now. It's like saying, "Look at me, I pay my bills." That's not something to put on a pedestal. That's just called being an adult. At the end of the day, if a woman feels the need to broadcast her basic responsibilities, it might be because there isn't much else she's bringing to the table. It's not about bragging, it's about showing real value through actions, not words.
There is no worse feeling when you're talking to someone and you're excited about talking with them and you've been messaging them and then they go rogue, they go ghost, they go off the grid, you don't hear a thing and you're like, what the hell happened? And then you start telling yourself lies in your head and you're like, well, probably they're just really tired, or they have a lot going on in their life, or something happened in their family, or their pet ran away. Like, you just start telling yourself things to make you feel better because you're like, how could they just stop responding to me? And then you know it's over because you go on their social media and the minute they post something, whether it's a photo, whether it's a story, you've lost them. They're gone forever. And your heart drops and you're like, oh, they're choosing to ignore me. Great.
All right, here's the reality check. Too many women today are putting way too much value on texting, thinking it's the foundation of a real connection. But texting, it's a shallow, limited form of communication. You can't hear tone, feel energy, or get a real sense of what's going on. Yet, some women are trying to figure out a guy's intentions from a bunch of words on a screen, setting themselves up for disappointment. They're overanalyzing every word, every pause, and if a guy takes a little too long to reply, it's instant panic. This obsession with texting just breeds unnecessary drama and mind games. If a guy starts sensing games or manipulation, he's out. Men, especially the ones with options, don't want to waste time decoding mixed signals or playing text chess. Texting is just a tool, nothing more. If it turns into a game of who can leave who on red longer, or who can come up with the wittiest response, it's doomed from the start. Men aren't interested in getting sucked into an emotional roller coaster over a few lines of text. Real connections are built face to face, with genuine conversations and mutual effort. When texting becomes the main way to gauge interest or compatibility, it's no wonder things fizzle out before they even get started. Women need to realize texting is just a small piece of the puzzle. When it becomes a battleground for power and validation, ghosting and heartbreak are bound to follow. Men want straightforwardness, not games. If texting becomes a minefield of miscommunication and manipulation, they're going to avoid it altogether. Simple as that, it's just not worth the hassle.
The reason you don't get princess treatment is because you look poor.
Or, now hear me out, that person is acting in the exact opposite way that an actual princess should behave.
You look low value and not put together. Leaving the house wearing sneakers, a pair of ripped jeans, an oversized boyfriend t-shirt, no makeup, and throwing your hair up in a bun. The cheaper you look, the cheaper the men are you attract.
On that note, the determining factor on what makes a person cheap is not exactly how they look. It is more determined by how they act.
And the more expensive you look, the more you will attract a provider man who wants to spend money on you.
Oh, absolutely. Because men should be competing to see which one of them gets to pay some woman's bills.
Because the clothes you wear and the way you represent yourself to the world is a way of communicating to men your standard and how you feel and think about yourself.
What a wonderful world it would be if everyone actually stopped and thought about how they represented themselves.
All right, let's talk about what really makes someone come across as cheap. And it's not the price tag on their clothes, their looks, or their status. It's all in how they act. Too many women out here think that throwing on designer brands or flashing some Instagram lifestyle automatically makes them high value. But let's be real, it's their behaviour that shows their true worth. When a woman is rude, entitled, manipulative, or constantly taking without giving back, that's the real mark of being cheap. No amount of luxury can mask a poor attitude. A woman who treats men like walking wallets, expecting to be pampered without offering anything in return. That's as low value as it gets. It's not about looks or style. It's about the attitude. If her mentality is gimme gimme and she offers nothing back, no respect, no kindness, no genuine effort, that's her true value shining through. And it's not high. The reality is, when a woman uses people, takes advantage of men's generosity, and offers nothing beyond her appearance, she's showing exactly what she's worth. Men can see right through this behaviour. The entitlement, the lack of appreciation, the expectation that her presence alone is enough. That's what makes someone truly cheap. And here's the sad part. Some women don't even realise it. They think that looks and status can hide their poor behaviour. But it's only a matter of time before the truth shows up. You can't buy class, no matter how put together someone appears. Their real value is in their actions. Men are looking for women with substance, character, and respect. So, for the women out there who think it's all about what you wear or how you look, think again. How you treat people, especially men, is what really determines your worth. Act cheap, and that's exactly how you'll get treated.
Why is it that when I lived in London, the boys would actively try and take you out on a date? They wouldn't ever let me pay, which isn't a big thing because I will always split. Do that. They would be talkative. They would be really good at communicating. They would be actively want to get your attention and want to hang out with you. And why is it when I land back in Melbourne, or even dating Aussie boys in London, they don't really care about your feelings. They kind of want one thing. If you ask them to reassure you if it's something casual or if it's something heading to serious, they will ghost you, or they'll turn into an asshole, or they'll love bomb you, or they'll go 0 to 100 and then back to 0. What?
This cycle couldn't be clearer. Aussie women spent years telling men to back off, don't approach, don't even look their way unless it's on their terms. So, men listened. They did exactly that and left them alone. Now those same women are sitting there, scratching their heads, wondering where all the men have gone. It's like they're missing the obvious connection here. Aussie men, like men everywhere, aren't playing games or being lazy. They're just adapting. They're tired of the one-sidedness, the constant pressure to do everything just right with zero reciprocity. Modern dating, especially with Aussie women, feels stuck in this awkward middle ground. Women want the benefits of equality, but still expect men to do all the heavy lifting when it comes to dating. Think about it. By their own actions, Aussie women have driven men away. They've ruthlessly shut down guys who actually showed interest, only to turn around and complain they can't find a good man. Many of these women are still holding on to old-school courtship ideas, expecting men to chase them, pay for everything, cater to every whim, yet want the perks of 2024, independence, control, and equality. But here's the catch. You can't have it both ways. No wonder Aussie men are throwing in the towel. Why would any guy put himself out there to be treated like a nuisance or, worse, ridiculed for even trying? It's about reciprocation and balance. Without it, what's the point in putting in any effort? High expectations with no intention of meeting a guy halfway. That's how you push men away. So now, Aussie men have wised up. They're not putting in the effort because, frankly, it's not worth the headache anymore. If women want equality, they've got to realise it applies to dating too. It's got to be give and take.
When you're out of a guy's league, things that happen, it's pretty dangerous. I see this all the time, guys with girls that they shouldn't be with. And I don't say that look-wise, I just mean mentality-wise as well. Even their lifestyles. What they'll do is they start off praising you, saying you're amazing. They try to boost that ego even more. They're like, how did I get so lucky? How am I with this girl? The next minute, they will devalue you and degrade you so far because they feel so insecure to be with you. So the only thing that will make them feel better is making you feel like shit. I was on a date once and this guy's like, oh, don't you think you should get your hair done? Like, I can see your regrowth. Thanks for letting me know. Beg your pardon? Or, yeah, you want to keep up at the gym because, you know, you don't want to lose your physique. Fuck off. They will find anything to nitpick at you. Because everyone is not perfect. So they will amplify your flaws. Anything they can find on you, they will find and they will run with it. So next time you're going below your average of what you think you deserve, remember, they'll destroy you, those people below you, because they feel insecure within themselves. Now, I'm not saying it's just like good looking people or this or that. It doesn't matter. It's just how they feel about themselves. And how they feel about themselves, they'll project that shit onto you because they feel insecure. They don't feel good enough. So then they'll make you feel like shit. You are who you surround yourself with. That will create insecurities within yourself. And then self-doubt. Oh, the amount of self-doubt I've had over the years of men trying to pull me down when I'm just like, oh, I'm just sitting here trying to live and be nice. Apparently I can't. It's fucking exhausting, actually. You'll be able to spot this away. The people that are in a couple or dating someone, how they think about themselves is who they date.
All right, let's get real here. It's baffling, isn't it? How do so many women keep falling for the same type of guy over and over? They're drawn to the chads, the wannabe bad boys, even though it always leads to the same outcomes. Disappointment, frustration, getting ghosted, or strung along. And yet they keep going back for more. The funny part? Women will often criticize men for playing games, but a lot of them are just as guilty, sometimes even more. Here's the truth. Nice guys don't play those games. The so-called chads have mastered it. They give just enough attention to keep women interested, but hold back just enough to stay in control. Why? Because they know they can. They've got options. These are the top 20% of men, the ones who can pick and choose from the 80% of women who keep chasing them. It's a classic cycle. The guys with the most attention are the ones putting in the least effort, while the women chasing them often overlook the nice guys right in their friend zone who would treat them so much better. Those nice guys, the ones women say they can't find, are usually right there, but they don't get the attention they deserve. Why? Because they're overshadowed by the thrill of the bad boy fantasy. Women say they're tired of getting hurt by the same type of guy, yet they keep chasing the ones who have no real interest in committing. Meanwhile, the nice guys get friend-zoned, not because they're lacking, but because they don't fit the fantasy of the unattainable, exciting man. The truth is, if you're tired of the cycle, Maybe it's time to stop chasing the top 20% of guys who are always going to play the field. Start paying attention to the ones who've been there all along. The ones who aren't playing games and actually want to build something real.